What is up, everybody? So, I've ran into an issue that I've never ran into before, and what it is this new stepper motor. So, what happened was I got this printer brand new, absolutely brand new, direct from Creality, and what I did is, I assembled it, put it all together, and I got maybe 1 or 2 prints off of it. And the first time around, it was the PID. So I had to tune that, which was not too big of a deal. And then once I got the heating figured out, the next thing that went was the motor. Not that one, it's still installed right there. That's a brand new motor, brand new. I spent $20 on that because I was under the impression that, which one is it? Oh, it's one of these, it's one of the motors, but I thought the motor went bad. So I replaced the motor with the new one. The new one in there still did not work, and I was wondering what was causing it. So I even replaced the wire, the main E1, I replaced it, and still nothing. So I thought, okay, if it's not the motor, and if it's not the wire, maybe it's the board. But it's a brand new machine, so I didn't really think it'd be the board. But if we go here, go into motion, move axis. Now I know it says it won't move the extruder unless it's heated up, but you can actually proceed and go ahead with it. Now, this is everything hooked up completely stock, normal, as you'd receive it. So we'll proceed, we'll do 10. So here is the motor. When I move it, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I thought, okay, well, let's make sure that it's the board. So what I did, I came down here. Now this is for the extruder, the motor I replaced and still doesn't work. Let's unplug it. Okay, now down here is your X motor. Okay, so we're gonna go here. I'm gonna show you that the X motor connections work just fine. Move axis. Okay, ready? Okay, so the X axis works. Okay, so we've established that the X works. The X, Y, and Z work perfectly. It's the extruder that doesn't work. So now what we're going to do, get back to all that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the X motor wire right here. It should be the one farthest this way. Now I'm going to undo it. Okay, so here the X and the E. I'm taking the E and I'm putting it down here where the X should go. Oh, okay. Now, watch this. Okay, so now this motor right here is hooked up to this, as in, you'll see here. Motion, move axis. Now I'm clicking X, but it's actually going to be the feeder. Ready? There it goes. So the motor works perfectly. My first assumption of a bad motor was incorrect. So the motor works fine. Now watch this. Oh, see? It's moving. Okay, now, since the X motor is now hooked up to what that used to be hooked up to, come down here. Now this is the X motor. This is for the X. I'm going to plug it in over here to where the filament feed extruder should go. Okay, it's plugged in. Watch this. If it was a bad motor or a bad wire, it wouldn't work at all, but it does when it's plugged into a different port. Now I move axis. I'm going to go down to extruder. Yes, we want to proceed. Now watch. Nothing happens. This is connected to where the extruder used to go, and the extruder is connected to where the X would go. So the wires and the motors are fine. It's this connection right here. There's a bad solder or a bad connection, but it's not allowing any communication to get through to the extruder side. Okay, so as you can see, nothing happens. Undo that. It's a little confusing, it is. But if you're trying to figure out if it's your motor, wire, or board, this is how you're going to do it. Okay, so now, let me turn it off. Okay, so now I'm going to unplug the X motor, which was working prior to coming over to this port. And then I'm going to unplug the E for the extruder, which was working in this port, but it will not work in this port. So what's going to happen is, if your machine is still new enough and you have a warranty on it, use the warranty and get a new board. It's pretty simple to just slap in here once you know where everything goes. Put the X motor back. Oh, if I can get it back. Sorry if this is a longer than normal video. I just wanted to show you what I've been dealing with. Took that wire in there. Okay. So now everything's back to normal, right? Turn it back on. Okay. Now you just seen how I hooked everything back to the way it was from the factory. So motion, move axis. Okay, now we're going to move the X. And it works just fine. So it's not the wires, it's not the motors. It's this port right here. It's that port. That is no bueno. I'll even go back to the extruder and show you. Because you've seen it would move regardless if it was heated or not. You just have to click proceed and make sure you don't have filament in it. Okay, I'm going to move it. Nothing. So what that proves right there is that it's the board. And it's really shocking to, oh, hear that? There's no filament. There's nothing in there. It's just an empty feeder. And it'll start doing that. And what you're hearing is both of the coils on that motor firing at the same time, causing a confusion, causing it to, well, do a typical click, but there's nothing typical about the fix. So that's what I've been up to. Hopefully I'll get it sorted out. Thanks.